Homeland, Season 4, Episode 7, Redux. They're on a roll. Ben Mankiewicz, Alonso Duralde, what the flick. I thought Episode 6 was good. I still would. I would rank Episode 6 ahead of Episode 7, but they're in a top tier.
There's a competition happening here.
Yeah, they're
for
in
sure.
a top tier. All right, let's take a quick look at the episode. A little preview.
People in this room represent the best hope of getting Saul Berenson back alive.
Do you know where we are?
Afghanistan.
The graveyard of empire.
Taking out Haqqani when we had the chance was the correct call.
Sounds pretty harsh.
Mountains are about to be moved on his behalf. Lives risked. He'd do anything right now to avoid that. He'd put a bullet in his own brain if he could.
But it's not Saul I'm worried about.
You have taught an entire generation to live with one foot in the afterlife.
Where's Matheson?
I was willing to let you die. Where are we going? No, please!
Okay, first of all, how much of a brick did you almost shit in that last scene?
Okay, so I don't know if you can see, you probably can't read it, but I have here things written in normal type and then a giant what the fuck written right here. Let's see, can we get that? We see it? Yeah, you can basically see the WTF there. But then right below that, I was like, no way, not buying it. It's got to be the ISI guy.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if it was going to be him, but I knew it was somebody else. Yeah.
Right. Well, he said he's too handsome. Yeah, he's dashing. And I don't know, I guess he might not actually be ISI. I guess he might be Pakistani military intelligence, something maybe different. Yeah. But he seems to be, like, he's legitimately puzzled by this, right? Mm-hmm. Like, he's like, no, I don't know where those, I buy his, I don't know where the tapes went. And he doesn't think that the ISI, I don't think he totally trusts that woman.
It's hard to say, really. I don't know where anybody's allegiances lie yet.
We're not supposed to.
So, yeah, exactly. So with him, jury's still out. I don't know.
So, nonetheless, her mania and hallucinations aside, that was quite a television moment.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
totally. That was just like, yeah, what?
Yeah.
That's some like General Hospital shit right there.
Right. Except but it was so touching. Then her moment of I want to believe it.
Yeah, and weirdly enough, it may wind up sort of being cathartic for her. Just as a thing to have happened, like sort of having that dream where you talk to the dead person.
Yeah. So do we know what drugs? When we learned when Mark Moses, Earth's worst television character, like great actor.
Yes, but always plays assholes.
When Mark Moses shows up and takes the drugs, and he mentions them to Earth's most beautiful spot.
Yes.
And says that she might be bipolar or or manic or worse. Do we know what the drugs were?
They say like clozapam or I don't know.
I think it was more than that.
I mean, he took a picture. He knew, everything it was.
But whatever those drugs are, they apparently work when taken in the proper dosage. Because seeing what they...
Well, because here's the thing.
See what happens to Carrie when she doesn't take them.
Well, but here's the thing. She's not just taking Kool-Aid. I'm sure that whatever they put in that capsule is taking her in a whole other direction, making her worse.
Okay, all right. I didn't even think that. I didn't even think so. Is this the level of her mania, or did they literally give her a hallucinogen? Like, have they made it right? So it's not just that she's getting a placebo.
Yeah.
She's getting something worse.
Yes, exactly. That's my theory.
No, it's a good theory. I didn't even.
Because they got it from a pharmacist, so I figured they weren't just going to get sugar pills. They probably selected something.
I don't know exactly what they took because I don't speak Urdu. But I like that part of it. I like that they keep us in the dark in that.
True.
Like we're getting, if you turn the closed captioning on, right?
It just says, speaking in Urdu.
It just says speaking Urdu, yeah. So that was great stuff. I mean, very, very tense. And her complete breakdown. I mean, I did think for a moment that she took her gun out and shot two Pakistani nationals.
That whole thing was like, that is one of those, that's one of those nightmare scenarios where you are helpless and out of control in a foreign country whose language you do not speak. Like that's the worst. That whole segment was giving me the hives.
And getting us to the point where you can have a major character standing in the middle of the street doing this, right? And having it be tense and credible and believable was great. Yeah. Like when we went from those guys going down, and all of a sudden I was like, wow, that is. That is freaky.
You know, that's the thing this show gets to turn to every so often, is that we have a lead character, you know, with a mental illness.
Yeah.
You know, that is she's keeping under control to various degrees over the course of the series, but deprive her of her meds and replace them with God knows what, and you're really going to have.
Yeah, because I was to get back to that point. I was a little bothered by like this, because if this is really how she is without the meds, then
no. I think here's her without the meds is Saul, I need a green highlighter. Right. This is her without the meds and with whatever they gave her.
Making the board in her house. Right.
Yeah. This is something else. This is they're pushing her in a whole other direction, I think.
And then from a makeup point of view, and hair, everything. I mean, they made her look exactly as you imagine somebody who is sleep deprived and medicine deprived and medicine altered would look. I mean, she looks terrible in a great, credible way.
And weirdly enough, this show has gotten you so attuned to the world that she's in that just her walking in the street without a kerchief on her head made me tense.
Right. Oh, you can't do that. A great line from your friend. Tracy
Letts.
Tracy Letts, right. He is such a punk, but he's so good.
It's nice to see him do his dick moves in another direction, though. That's been fun.
But I mean, she's like, I need a minute. Take 10. that was a great laugh out loud line, I thought. Take 10. I liked, there were a lot of important and interesting one-on-one conversations in this.
Saul and
Haqqani.
Haqqani, yeah.
Twice. Once at dinner and once in the car.
Yeah.
Tracy Letts and the ambassador.
The ambassador and
the
Duck.
ambassador and Duck. Right, exactly.
It was funny. I was just talking to Bibbs about this. On The Affair this week, there's a scene where the husband who can't stand his in-laws, and they've been staying, in their place in Montauk, has to then come up with an excuse for them to stay when it seems like they should be leaving because he wants to keep the affair going. It's the same. This episode we had the same thing where the ambassador's husband is trying to convince her to stay in Pakistan after having hated it all along.
Yeah, he blew that line. The character. Either the character blew that line or they actually wrote it wrong. Like, it's starting to grow on me. Was a weak finish to a good scene. I liked that scene. I would have had him go deeper into the, look, regardless of how I feel, this is your life. This is your career. And I can hang on here for another year without you stepping on a landmine. Like, it would have been bullshit, but it would have
worked in the moment, and it would have allowed him to build up some imaginary chits with her, totally.
Right, as opposed to sort of a more generic line that he had. But whatever, that's the supreme nitpicking. Looking at my notes here, the Haqqani fucking his wife in front of Saul. Oh my God, it's like Rome. I really, and I even at first the Islam versus Christianity, the Middle East versus the West conversation at the dinner table seemed a little heavy-handed, but by the end of it, I was comfortable with it.
Yeah.
But two, like the one.
I'm a Jew was a great punchline.
Yeah, I'm a Jew. Well. So now I think we are set up some interesting battle lines, because what is this young, incredibly handsome? He was wearing a military uniform, so he's a high-ranking military, probably military intelligence official. I don't know if that's exactly the same as the ISI, but she doesn't wear a uniform.
Right.
And I sense that she is operating out of his purview. And maybe more powerful, and because the ISI is notoriously powerful, and some say essentially run the government, and the chain of command would appear to be different.
Do we know who gave up Saul's location? Do we know that it was him, or do we know it was her, or is that still an unknown on this?
We don't know. Whether it was the beautiful woman.
Right.
I should probably learn.
Or Smash Guy. I know. I'm so bad with these names.
Gave up Saul's location
at the airport so that he could be kidnapped.
Right. Of course, it could have been Farhad Ghazi himself.
Right. True.
Nice Farhad Ghazi.
Farhad Ghazi. There you go.
With pressure on. Right. That could have been him. But we're still we need confirmation of who told. Somebody told Haqqani about the kid coming to see him, and that they're being followed. You know, how did he know there was a drone? How did he know that he was being tracked? That he'd had a, you know, that they'd given him they'd put something in his passport. Although I guess he didn't have the passport anymore, did he?
I think he did. That's how they were following him.
Of course, he had the passport, right? That's how they were following him. And the guy let him keep the passport when they had the checkpoint.
Right.
So who gave that information up, or is that unimportant? I don't know. But I like the Pakistani battle lines being drawn, and of course Carrie at some point is going to theoretically come too, and maybe this guy will help. I don't know, maybe.
It's hard to say. I mean, but obviously with Tracy Letts being so much of a hardliner, they have to then rack up whatever they can on their side. And at the moment, they've got Duck and they've got Carrie. So you know. Yeah,
and that moment of, but they got to return Carrie. Like especially he has her. He'll return her. Like I don't think Carrie is right now in any actual danger.
But whether or not they physically have her, I'm saying they're fucking with her meds. They're controlling her. You know.
Right, and you know we'll know when this guy takes her home, of whether his first call is to beautiful woman to tell her how it went.
Right.
Then we'll know.
Or if he drops her off at the ER.
Right. Or he drops her off at the ER. Right. Anyway, I mean, I'm trying to think if we have anything else that was good. I liked in the beginning that real quick at the opening they had Carrie the suggestion was that in this incredibly critical moment we're led to believe early on when Tracy Letts lands in Pakistan that Carrie is sulking. But right away, of course, just because she's not there, she's not sulking. She hasn't slept. She's at the alternate
she's
site
with her people.
Her people. And another great moment.
Michael O'Keefe, when Tracy Letts is grilling everybody about what they would have done or if they agreed with her, he's so brilliantly non-committal.
Oh, totally, yeah. He is ready to work. I don't know who's going to be in charge at the end of this.
He's such a diplomat, a career diplomat.
Her call, right? But then it turned out he made the wrong call because then Tracy Letts rips Quinn, right? And you thought it should go a different direction, somebody to that effect. And he's like, and then Tracy Letts goes, thank God. Like, thank God you were there and we didn't.
Right, but Carrie says this week what I said last week, which was that Saul would have pulled the trigger.
That may be right, and the smartest people may be correct, and Saul and Carrie are the smartest, and maybe that's true. But I like that Michael O'Keefe sucked up, and he did it brilliantly. But the fact is, in the end, Letts was like yelling at Quinn, but then was like, yeah, okay, good. We didn't launch a drone strike on Saul. You made the right call. Thank God. Thank God you were in the room.
You make the call.
So we had Carrie had 3 hallucinations of significance. The shootout that didn't happen. Obviously this huge Brody moment that didn't happen.
Quinn in the hospital.
Which was very interesting because at first that one I bought for a moment. Just for a moment I was like, is he following her? Did he have a tie on in that other scene? But then he said something that he would never have said.
Right.
Like, let this go on long enough. I can't have you berating the hospital staff.
Yeah, that was like, huh?
He wouldn't say that, right. But I love that they didn't
tip it off.
They didn't tip it off. They just, we skip a scene and there's Quinn back in Islamabad.
Right. And then there's no sort of like woo to set us up that this is all her hallucination. It's just that we see her flipping out, like yelling at Ion's friend and everything. And so and then just having him walk in where we have to take a second to kind of wait, he shouldn't be here. Why is he talking that way? And then she says that line about because your feelings for me. I mean, that's a whole area that this season's been kind of flirting around as well.
I still think Quinn's mission is very clear. Quinn doesn't care about it. Quinn wants to get Saul back. Quinn wants to win the war. Quinn wants it, but mostly he wants us to leave and he wants to save Carrie. That's it. That's his job. Saving Carrie. All right, it's great stuff. I mean, it was 2 straight great season 1-like episodes
yes.
from Homeland. I'm glad the show is back.